Right, folks. Well, on this edition of Rockposer Chats, I'm joined by two gentlemen from the superb Scandi rock band Starmen, and that is none other than the Red Starman and the Gold Starman. That is Kristian and Jonatan. Welcome to Rockposer.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, quite a few bands have been busy during lockdown and the whole COVID crisis, and have managed to record an album. You guys have gone a little bit further than that, That's 3 albums you recorded. A little bit excessive?
Yeah, but I think my main thing in music is to write songs, and it comes very easily for me. So there's no big effort to write music. It's come very natural to me. And Jonatan is an excellent writer as well, and he can speak for himself, maybe.
Okay, when I write like 2 songs, Kristian have written like 10 songs. So yeah, he's very creative.
Yes.
And we all like to write. So well, yeah, we have spent the time well.
Yeah.
Being creative. Yeah.
I mean, you guys sort of came out of nowhere, although you've obviously got a history within rock music and we're connected to other bands, etc.
Yeah.
What brought you guys together and created what is Starman?
It started out, I have written pop music for over a decade. And
Right.
I met a friend at Sweden Rock Festival, and he told me, I'm going to do a melodic rock album. And I thought, well, I've been a hard rock singer back in the early 90s. So I thought, this is a good time to join him and make a record on my own. And I went back home and write the first album, and got very good feedback, and that was so inspiring. So it was easy to continue and let it grow. And then the whole idea of a band, put a band together that is, all in, larger than life. Many of my heroes is, Sweet Kiss, Bowie, and I love the glam gimmick. So I thought, let's not do as the rest of the world, 5 guys in leather jackets looking a bit angry with sunshades on. Let's put a band together that is grande, That was the whole idea.
It is refreshing, it has to be said. As you're saying, there are so many bands, they all look the same. But I mean, there's no mistaking you guys, with the different names and the makeup and just the whole appearance of the band. I mean, it is very striking. And as I can only say, I think it works really well.
I think so too. It just the progress has gone faster, I think, for the band with the gimmick. But one thing is very important to say is that you can't have a gimmick unless you have good material.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work the other way around. One day maybe you can be cool gimmick and posing band, but without good music. And I really think we got good materials, and I'm very, very proud of our records so far.
I mean, you've certainly made waves with, you've had plenty of good reviews across the board. Obviously, for all 3 albums, I say all 3 albums, obviously the new album is out on Friday. By the Grace of Rock and Roll is obviously the new album. Is it, to some extent, a nostalgia trip, obviously going back to the 70s glam bands, or do you just think it's a case of the right timing and this is what people want? They want something which is not so generic or just sounds the same as every other band that's about at the moment?
Jonatan?
When I joined the band in August last year, but I heard about the band before they released the first album, and what caught my attention was not the great music, it was the makeup. I was like, what? Really? So I had to check them out, and I found out, they're really good, actually. So I think that is a portal into the music.
Of course, you can't please everyone, and some may say, silly guys, you know, with makeup, blah, blah, blah. But we have a lot of fun, and we think it's a cool thing to have. But of course, there will always be people who say this is silly.
They can, but let's face it, Kiss and Bowie didn't exactly get it wrong, did they?
No, that's true.
Let's take you both back to when you first got into music. Was there one particular album or one particular song or one particular artist which really sort of lit that flame of passion?
It was. For me, it was my father had this old, you know, vad heter rullband på engelska? Old tape
recorder.
Good old filter.
With Sgt. Pepper and McCartney album, Red Rose Speedway.
Okay.
So I became a huge McCartney fan and Beatles fan, and I'm breathing Beatles every day. So that was my first albums.
And yourself?
I grew up in a Christian home, and I didn't know about rock music until I was like in third or fourth grade.
Right.
And then I went to a Christian rock concert with a band called Aron's Skägg, which means Aaron's beard. That's a cool name, but I was totally blown away. This is what.
Oh, you're frozen up there.
Discovered many, but that was the trigger that started me. That cool band from Borås called Aron's Skägg.
It just always interests me, you know, the different ways that people get into you know, not just rock music, but just music in general. You know, what is the spark? Because let's face it, for everyone, it's different.
Yeah.
And it's there's some strange roots in somehow. As you were saying, you know, in the household you grew up in, I mean, there was certainly no rock music in the household I grew up in. My mum and dad listened to classical, little bit of jazz. My brother was into the likes of ABBA and stuff like that. That's just showing how old we are. But for me personally, it was someone gave me a tape with Whitesnake live in the heart of the city, and that was it. That was then, and that was yes. And then you've literally sold your soul to rock and roll.
Yeah, I love that album.
Yeah.
Going forward with the band, obviously, as we said, you know, you've done 3 albums this amount of time. Are you going to take a bit of a breather, a bit of a break, or are you working on the 4th one?
The 4th one is already done.
Sure.
So we're a little bit ahead in the schedule. No, I think it's very nice for the moment to be in a band like Starman with all the good feedback, and you know it's so inspiring to just go on and see what we can expand in sort of way.
Have you got a title and everything sorted out for that album?
We're talking about Starmanized.
Okay.
We will see.
Pretty cool, but yeah. I'm not going to push you to reveal anything. Put it that way. I should put a surprise.
Here it is.
Do you intend to take this music out live? Do you intend to get out on the road? Obviously, when everything settles down, the whole COVID situation, we can get back to actually enjoying some proper live music again.
That would be very nice, of course, but I think COVID is going to stay for quite some time. Basically, we made the band to be a band that write music, make albums and videos.
Right.
But now, you know, when people ask us, when will you be out playing on the tour, we have to think it over and maybe put a show together.
See, this is a problem when people get to like your music. They want to see it live. So
yeah,
you've only got yourselves to blame.
Yeah, and I think the Starman gimmick is something you can develop on stage.
Absolutely.
It's very,
I mean, it just ends again. We're going back to the likes of obviously Kiss and Bowie again. yeah, this particular image just lends itself to a live act. I mean, basically, it's just as far as your imagination and logistics and the money, shall we say, will allow it to go.
Yeah, yeah. So that will be exciting.
Yeah, you know, you've got one of the biggest rock festivals in Europe, obviously with Sweden Rock. So I guess fingers crossed that would be a pretty reasonable start for yourselves.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. Is Sweden Rock being cancelled for this year? I'm losing track keeping up with what is and isn't on.
I think they work to make it, but nobody.
They will decide in April, I think, if it's going to be or be cancelled.
I mean, here there are festivals are now coming back online, sort of for late summer. That's what's happening at the moment. But I say just trying to keep up with the change of dates for bands and concerts there's so many crosses on my calendar. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, strange days indeed.
It is strange days. I mean, it's just over a year since the last gig I went to, and it's in a big hall. It has to be said. I mean, I guess you guys have been lucky the fact you've managed to record and go into a studio. Has that been under the conditions? Have you had to take any particular precautions under COVID in order to record?
When we did the videos to the album, we made.
Sorry, go ahead.
We made a black box, and we filmed each member. So you put it separate, yeah.
That way you could isolate it, still get the product out, right?
Yeah. So a little bit COVID thinking.
Have either you got any other plans outside of Starmen? Are there any other projects that you're involved with? Because I know what musicians are like. You've always got something else going on somewhere. You never sit still.
Jonatan is a member of a Swedish band called Narnia, so he has a lot of things to do.
We are also recording a new album, and we are booked for Sweden Rock this year.
Okay.
And some other gigs in November. So we have pretty much this year as well. And we are 25 years this year, so we have some special things coming up as well.
So that really is a case of fingers crossed that everything goes ahead all right. I know bands have obviously missed their anniversary tours and concerts, etc. I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head who've had to sort of knock it a year. So instead of it being sort of 25 years, it's now suddenly 26, and sort of had to redo all the t-shirts and everything. It's very, very difficult. But, I'm sure my fingers crossed for you guys, and hopefully you get back to live music as hopefully as quickly as we do anyway.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thanks ever so much for taking the time to have a chat with me.
Thank you very much.
You're a big fan. Absolutely love the albums. How can I put it? They've been a breath of fresh air, I think, on the music scene. I'm just glad to see you guys are starting to get the success that I think you deserve.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.